The boss and I had a shouting match yesterday. I won. I usually do. But he says it is good practice at a TV channel that roars. Mirador. TV that roars.
Well, it's very nice to be sitting out in the sun, enjoying it in a very pretty garden. And I suppose that lockdown has its benefits. I'm in my office. What a wonderful office to have. But if there is anything which is getting my goat at the moment, it's the suggestions that come from these young whippersnappers in Parliament of the Civil Service that are suggesting that anybody over 70 will be kept into lockdown while the rest of them get out and get on with it. Well, you made a fine mess of it up to now, if I may say so. The under 70s. And that means that I'm going to upset a whole lot of people. As I said the other day in my American style rant, if Donald Trump can upset 300 million people with one word or one sentence, then I'm sure as hell going to have to try to beat his record. So get off the pot, you young whippersnappers, because you have got us into a fine mess over the last couple of decades. You've turned what was a reasonably healthy society into one for greedy people and for the have-nots. And that's not exactly, I think, what Margaret Thatcher had in mind when she turned us from a completely ungovernable socialist society to one of free and private enterprise. What you've turned it into is disgraceful. And what do you want to do, now that there is a crisis, is lock us away. Keep us out of the workplace. Keep us out of suggesting to you how you might get it out. You don't want to tap into experience. You don't want to tap into the knowledge which we gained in a golden era, in my opinion, in the UK, because that would upset this funny thinking that you have, that you've got it made. We know nothing and you know everything. Well, maybe you do. But if you do know everything, for God's sake, use it, because at the moment we are in a dreadful state, not just in this country, but in the entire world. Take away the computers, and most of the generation under 70 wouldn't know what the hell to do. And yet they sneer at us because we don't know how to handle computers. Well, I've seen no evidence that you know how to handle computers. You rely upon them. You rely upon them to do your work and then hide behind them. Well, anybody suggests, and I've got a few over 70s on my side, if any of you suggest that you're going to keep us tucked away while you get on with screwing things up the way that you have for the last 2 decades, you've got another thing coming. From a law-abiding citizen, you'll have turned me into a rebel. Maybe I won't go out at night bombing buildings or behaving like a terrorist, but you'll know I'm there, believe me, and you'll know that many people who think like me are there too. So gird your loins, because you're not shutting us away just because we're your conscience. We're the people that keep telling you, get a grip. And when you don't, you hear the echo. And how do you deal with the echo? Shut us away. Ah, good strategy. Except we over 70s aren't going to let that strategy work. So you go back to the drawing board and figure out how you can make our society healthier, how you can actually get a proper balance in our society between private enterprise and earning money justly. Yes, earning a fortune, I'm nothing against that, but also looking after the sick, the lame, and the elderly, which is often said is the mark of any society. Oh, and I've said that in front of people of your generation, and they sneer. Yes, very trite, very trite. Yeah, some things that are trite are very true. They're called truisms. Try them once in a while. Perhaps for breakfast, if necessary. Till then, from my office in the garden until freedom comes back and I can get out. Toodle pip.